From tribes of different cultures to modern buildings in the country's capital, Sudan is a growing country fighting to restore their land. From many political conflicts to the supply of natural resources, Sudan is in need of help and thoughtfulness. With the effects of the genocide in Darfur and need of essentials, what will help these people get back up on their feet? Although many are trying to make better lives for themselves and their families, most of them are still in need of clean water, medical care, and better education for all ages. The way of life for many Sudanese people begins here. The root of the crisis began with the First and Second Civil Wars. It was characterized as a fight between the northern and southern parts of Sudan, both wanting the land. The battle itself destroyed the land and led to the genocide in Darfur. In February 2003, two distinct rebel groups in this region felt that they were treated unfairly because of the amount of land and resources they were given. These groups rose up against the government of Sudan. The government responded with the help of the local militia troops, attacking villages linked to the rebels. This militia named themselves the Janjaweed. According to the Catholic Relief Services, the result is a crisis that is deemed by the United Nations as the world's greatest humanitarian emergency today, and one that has the potential to destabilize Africa's largest country and its neighbors. Many of the people of Sudan endured and still are fighting the mass killings, struggling to survive and trying to find the basic necessities for that day. One of the results from this genocide is the need for fresh water. In order to survive, all people need water for cooking, washing, and drinking, especially in the summer when it's hotter and drier. Although some may not live far from a local water source, the water itself is in horrible condition. Every day, people are getting sick from the water they drink. According to witnesses, a government-backed militia stormed into villages on horseback, surrounding them in a death trap. They poisoned the water sources by emptying out oil in the rivers and wells. They burned, pillaged, and destroyed other of their essentials as well. Also, in other parts of the country, oil residue from plants leak into the bodies of water, effectively poisoning them. To the Sudanese, water is life, a sense of survival, a daily essential when waking up in the morning. With our prototype, the Tri-Water, the availability of drinking water will increase and reduce the amount of illness and death. This construction is based on the separation of volatile substances called distillation. Distillation is a form of desalination. Desalination is the procedure for removing excess salt, minerals, and bacteria in water, making it clean and fresh for people to drink. The process we used begins with placing contaminated water in the upper pan of the Tri-Water. The sun heats the contaminated water from both the reflection off the mirror, the magnifying glass, and through the clear lid. The molecules heat up and become gaseous. They then begin to cool, causing them to condense and water vapor to collect on the top of the lid. As the water condenses into droplets, it drips along the slope of the top lid into the lower pan. By having a dark sheet on the wall behind the contaminated water, this allows the condensed water to roll to the clean pan, not dripping into the contaminated pan. The process repeats, and the contaminated water is purified into clean, fresh water. Although there are some cons to this design, the pros outweigh them. For example, since this contraption is solar heated, the amount of time it would take to heat the water enough to vaporize it would be unpredictable. To counteract this, we attached a mirror and magnifying glass to the side of our prototype. This will reflect and focus the sun's rays to increase the amount of heat being trained onto the water. In addition, there's a piece of glass on the bottom of the contaminated container to further spread the heat. Constructed properly, having this available for use in Sudan would be a lot of help for the people living there. If the water is purified, it will help the everyday lives of each and every one of them. The lives people here in America are grounded in education. This also applies for the people in Sudan. But in their case, they don't have all the necessary resources we Americans have in order to have a great education. If it were made possible, many people would love to make schools for children to ensure that they have the best learning environment possible. Their learning capabilities are perfect. Children and even grown adults have the drive to learn about history, math, and all other subjects. Their minds can soak up the same amount of knowledge as we can, but the only thing stopping them is their lack of access to good schools and resources. To this day, Sudan is split in two, North and South. Southern Sudan is rich with oil. The Northern Arab government, however, takes the Southern's oil and sells it to China. The people of Southern Sudan never see the profits. Instead of giving the money back to the people, the North takes it and buys weapons and small arms for their military. The people of Southern Sudan and Darfur receive only 2% of what is made. According to Betsy Apple of the organization Darfur Divestment Worldwide, a lethal cycle has developed where Sudan sells China large quantities of oil and then turns around and uses the income from its oil sales to purchase weapons from China. The people of Darfur suffer the consequences as the arms are turned against them, resulting in more death, displacement, and destruction. Many stories have been told about Sudan, and everyone hears briefly about the genocide in Darfur. Darfur is still living through the cracks, and so is the rest of the country. Although all the conflicts and pain cost too many lives, Sudan is still a beautiful land. The people, their sense of culture, and Sudan's beautiful nature can still be saved. Sudan's landscape was filled with nice deserts, beautiful mountain ranges, with swamps and rainforests. For now, it remains in the midst of a horrible genocide. What will it become in the future?